Okay, so the other recipe is just chicken Karahi. Karahi is actually a wok, but because I don't have one, when I get one, I'm planning to get one, and I make it outside on the barbecue, then I'll show you that recipe. So this is just a shortcut way of making it. Just fry up a little bit of the chicken till it turns color. That's step one. For the chicken recipe, throw in, if you like onions more, you can do more. I just ran out of stuff, so I've got half an onion in here, and just saute it a little bit. And then we're going to put garlic and ginger in it, like 3-4 cloves of garlic and like an inch and a half of ginger. I grate it. Back to the chicken recipe. I've added the grated garlic and ginger. This recipe does require a little bit more oil, so I'm going to add a little bit more oil before I go to the next step. Okay, so I've sauteed it for maybe 2 to 3 minutes. In the meantime, I'm multitasking here, so I should have done this before. It's just take some boiling hot water from a kettle and just drop your tomato in there. What we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make it easy for us to take the peel off. So I don't know, maybe just cover it for a few minutes so it steams in there. So I've soaked it for a bit. So what you do is just pierce the skin a bit, and you should be able to peel the skin off. See, so it's coming off. So I'm going to do that. Peel the skin off, cut it up, and then throw it into that pan. You might want to use a deeper frying pan than what I have. But anyways, throw it back into that pan and continue on. Okay, so this is what I have after it's been cut up. If it's got a little bit of water, it's okay. I added a little bit more oil, so this goes into the pan. And we're just going to mix it up a little bit. So, kind of move into low heat. I've got some spices now. I'm a little low on everything. Salt, about half a teaspoon. Turmeric, half a teaspoon. Cumin powder, a teaspoon. Coriander. I love white pepper as well. I'll do a few sprinkles in, so all of that goes in there. And sprinkle white pepper and mix it up for a bit. Okay, so what you're now going to do is you're going to bring the heat down. You're going to cover it, and you're going to let it simmer in there for maybe 5 minutes or so. Let me just check it, make sure it's not, getting burnt at all. I think I forgot to add chili powder, so depends on how potent it is. Half a teaspoon, 1/4. All right, so after 5 minutes or so, just take the lid off. The idea of putting the lid on is to just get all of the tomato stuff to get a little soft. So if you feel that the water's the mixture is getting too dry, you can just add just a tiny bit of water, which I did. This is what it looks like consistency wise. I see the tomatoes are still a little hard, so I'm just going to smash them down a bit. And now the next thing that we're going to do is an important part of how it's going to turn out. So we're going to bring the heat up a bit, and what we have to do is we have to make the water evaporate and the mixture get dry, so much so that when you were stirring it, you start seeing oil coming out. The mixture, and it's dried up enough. So we're going to continue stirring this, and as I get towards the end, I'll show you what that looks like. All right, apologize if you hear drumming. You guys decided to throw a concert in the living room, so let's see. Okay. I had to turn the heat off because I had to go look for his drum. So as you can see, it's getting to a point where the tomatoes are reduced. You're starting to see oil coming out, right, on the sides. We're like on low to medium heat at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it continue cooking that way, keeping an eye on it, stirring it so it doesn't burn till maybe another minute or so till I see a little bit more oil coming out and the mixture is a little more reduced. Then what we're going to do is add a tablespoon of yogurt. I've sort of kind of made it a little thinner by adding a little bit of water to it. Sort of kind of consistency like that. So once this is done, I'm going to add that in there and continue the same process of letting it cook till it becomes, like, the oil starts coming out. Okay, so I've added the yogurt in and just mix it up.
Doing the electric guitar and Vanilla's doing her rainbow piano and she's doing the piano.
Wonderful.
So
Man.
Dad's doing the drum.
Oh, cool. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. At this point you can taste it. I'm fasting, so I really can't taste it. And then you can add whatever else you want to add at this point to it. It may look a little curdled up, because it's tomato and yogurt mixed together. If you don't want to do this step, you're more than welcome not to. I just find it gives it a little bit of a sourish flavor. Okay, so now it's coming up to a bit of a boil. Maybe, at this point, I mean, we don't need to go down to the same thing of reduction. It's up to you if you want to. Because we're making a drier version of it, we will come back and do that again. So at this point, I'm just going to add that fried chicken in there. And like I said, you can taste things at this point and adjust accordingly if you want. And use a deeper, like a saucepan for this. So now it's boiling. I'm actually going to cover it and bring the heat down, because what you want to do is you want to cook the chicken in its own juices. So I brought it down. We'll check every other, this thing to make sure it's not sticking at the bottom. Technically it shouldn't. I am using frozen chicken that I left on the counter for a bit to thaw. Or you can just dip it in cold water and it'll thaw up and then you throw it in. But chicken itself has its own juices in it, so it can cook in it. So maybe in another 10 minutes or so, we'll check, but low heat, so long as it's simmering, it's just going to cook in its own juices. Okay, so I think I left it maybe for 15 minutes. So usually when you see this happening on drumsticks, it's ready. I will cut through this and check and see, but I think it looks ready to me. So what we're now going to do is we're going to bring the heat up, and same idea, we're going to cook this to reduce the tomato until you see more of the oil coming out, and then we're just going to garnish it with a pinch of garam masala powder, and if you have chopped up spring onions, cilantro, you can just garnish it with that. Serve it with rice, or they sell naan in the grocery store, either one. So as you can see, that's I brought the heat up, and I'm now going to work on. You have to continuously stir, else at the bottom it's going to burn. Okay, so I'm just gonna sprinkle a bit of masala. Oh, there's one more thing, yes. Bit of cut up ginger. Really thin, long strands. You can garnish with that as well. It brings out a really good taste. So I'm going to do that as well. So I have some frozen spring onion and cilantro, so I'm adding as well. Brought the heat down a bit. Starting to sputter quite a bit, and I can see, as you can see, the oil is separating out. And the what's called the masala, this tomato stuff, it's not going to reduce as much anymore. The idea is to be able to separate out the oil and really stir it, and that's what brings the flavor out. That's the secret. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of thin slices of ginger, and that's it. It's done. Okay, so I've added the ginger as well, and you could also cut up green chilies if you want as well as garnish. So there you have it.